Okay, let's talk about that nagging jaw pain. Or, that weird little clicking sound you try to ignore. If that's you, you're definitely not alone. So many people deal with this stuff. In this explainer, we are going to uncover the really surprising and often totally missed link between how your teeth line up and that constant pain. So let's dive right in.
Yeah, let's start with that sound, right? That little click or pop you get when you're chewing or you yawn really big. It is so easy to just brush it off. But here's the thing. It's often your body's own little alarm bell. It's a signal, a really clear one, that the complicated machinery of your jaw just isn't working quite right. So the real question isn't just, are we listening? It's, what are we missing when we choose to ignore it?
And look, it's not always just about the sounds. For a lot of people, it's this persistent nagging pain. So first things first, let's go through some of the common signs that tell you, hey, this is probably more than just a little annoyance.
Just look at this list. It's kind of wild how interconnected all this stuff is, isn't it? I mean, you could be dealing with constant headaches and never, ever think to connect them back to your jaw. Or maybe you're a teeth grinder. That's called bruxism, and you just chalk it up to stress. But what if every single one of these is just a different signal from your body, and they're all pointing to the exact same root cause?
Okay, so if those are the symptoms, what's actually causing all of it? Well, it turns out the hidden culprit is usually something we almost never think about, and it's just the way our teeth fit together. Yep. Let's take a look at the surprisingly huge role your bite plays in this whole thing.
Right, so the official term for this is malocclusion. Sounds super complicated, I know, but all it really means is that your top and bottom teeth don't line up the way they're supposed to. The best way to think about it is like having a car with tires that are out of alignment. Sure, the car will still drive, but you're going to get all this extra wear and tear, vibration, and strain on the whole car. Well, your jaw, it works in the exact same way.
And this really shows you the difference, plain and simple. On the left, you've got a healthy bite. Everything's in harmony, right? The pressure from chewing is spread out evenly. But then, look at the right side. When your bite is misaligned, your jaw is literally forced to shift and compensate with every single chew, every swallow, every time you talk. Just think about that for a second. We're talking thousands of times a day. That constant little adjustment leads to tired muscles and a whole lot of strain on that main jaw joint, the TMJ. And that's where the pain comes from.
And malocclusion isn't just one single thing either. It can show up in a bunch of different ways. You could have an overbite or an underbite, maybe a crossbite. Heck, it could even be simple stuff like crowded teeth or having a few gaps. Every single one of these, in its own unique way, just throws off that perfect balance we were just talking about, and it forces your jaw muscles to work way harder than they should have to. So, okay, this all leads to a really big question, and I bet I know what you're thinking. Can I just fix this myself? Are there some exercises I can do or some natural way to get my jaw back in line? It's a super common thought, so let's just tackle that myth right now.
All right, so can you really just stretch or exercise your way to a perfectly aligned bite? The short answer, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, is no. And it's really important to understand why that is.
This table here makes the difference super clear. So on one side, things like jaw exercises or maybe switching to a soft food diet, they can definitely help you manage the symptoms. They can give you some temporary relief, for sure. But, and this is the big but, what they can't do is physically move your teeth or change the structure of your jaw. And that's the bottom line, right? They're basically just Band-Aids. They're not the cure, because they don't fix what's actually causing the problem in the first place. Okay, so if the whole DIY approach isn't the real long-term answer, then what is? Well, let's shift gears and talk about the modern, super precise solutions that are actually designed to correct that underlying structural problem for good.
And this really requires a huge shift in how we think about things. For decades, most of us have thought about orthodontics as being purely for looks, right? Just something to get a prettier smile. But today, it's really a health-focused science. It's all about using incredible digital precision to get your bite working properly again, and by doing that, getting rid of the chronic pain that a bad bite can cause.
And the way it's done now is so systematic and incredibly safe. It always starts with a professional diagnosis to figure out exactly what's going on with your specific bite. From there, a custom digital plan is created that maps out every single step. Then, you have clear aligners that apply this consistent, gentle force to guide your teeth exactly where they need to go. And what's so crucial is that the whole process is supervised by an orthodontist, making sure everything is moving correctly and the results are going to last.
Now, this all sounds pretty amazing, but you're probably wondering, is this for me? Is it for everyone? So, who's the ideal candidate for a treatment like this?
Well, the good news is that clear aligners are actually incredibly versatile. They work really, really well for most of those common issues we talked about before. The crowding, the spacing, overbites, crossbites. And they're also a fantastic option for a lot of adults, especially, and I know this is a big one for some people, especially if you had braces when you were younger and your teeth have kind of shifted back a bit over time.
Okay, let's get to it. The number one question pretty much everyone has on their mind. We are talking about moving teeth here. So the big question is, does it hurt?
And honestly, the answer is pretty straightforward. You'll probably feel a little bit of pressure, maybe some tightness, for about a day or so right after you switch to a new aligner. But that's pretty much it. And you know what? That feeling is actually a good sign. It's how you know the treatment is working and your teeth are gently moving into their new, healthier spot, just like they're supposed to.
All right, so as we start to wrap this all up, let's boil it all down to the one single most important idea I want you to walk away with.
This is it. This is the whole thing in a nutshell. You can try to mask the pain with temporary fixes forever and ever, but until you actually deal with the underlying mechanical problem, that misaligned bite, the root cause of your pain is always going to be there.
So the real key here is to completely reframe how you think about all this discomfort. The jaw pain, that clicking sound, the tension headaches, they aren't the actual problem. Think of them more like messengers. They're just signals that the foundation of the whole system, your bite, is off balance and really needs some attention.
And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. If you've been living with any of these symptoms, maybe, just maybe, the real solution isn't about just managing the pain. Maybe it's about actually correcting your bite. It really could be the key to a pain-free life that you've been looking for all this time.